Well, the fact that I was born and raised here in Point Pleasant, I had collected over the years a few archives. Um, at the time I opened the museum, I had record stores, music stores, and we used to sell a few Mothman designs on T-shirts and things like that. I seen that there was a demand for it, and so I started, getting the idea of opening up a, small Mothman museum just to get people to come and visit Point Pleasant. That's how the museum started, and then over the past 20 years, we've acquired, all kinds of movie props and archives and newspaper clippings, all kinds of stuff. Well, again, those original witnesses were my neighbors when I was just a little kid. I was about 5 years old, and Linda Scarberry and Roger Scarberry lived just houses away from my family. So as I got a little bit older, I kind of put two and two together and thought, well, these people lived on our street, so kind of piqued my interest a little bit that way because I thought, that it was neat that it all happened here in Point Pleasant. I have not ever had any sort of encounters with anything like was described in, John Keel's book or anything like that. Well, the video game Fallout 76 has definitely been a boost to the popularity of the museum and getting people to come to Point Pleasant, amongst other locations in West Virginia.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was a really unique situation for the museum to be included in that video game. Well, I was probably in junior high, seventh or eighth grade, and somebody had a copy of the Mothman Prophecies book, and I remember looking through it, and I'd probably heard about it before then, but I just really never, paid much attention to it when I was really young. I've interviewed a lot of the original witnesses. One of the things that I remember when I interviewed Linda Scarberry and asked her about when it came over top of their car, and I asked her how big the wingspan was, and she said the wings were so big when it flapped its wings, she could hear the tips of the wings hitting the bottom of the car door, and I thought that was pretty wild.
Yeah.
At the museum here, we show in the meeting room the documentary called "Search for Mothman." That was a sister project to the actual movie Mothman Prophecies. The reason I always suggest that one is because a lot of those original witnesses are on that video, and most of those people have passed away. So it's an accurate description of what these people were seeing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to meet him on several occasions, talk on the phone quite a bit. So yeah, I was lucky enough to be able to pick his brain a little bit and get his opinion on things and stuff. That's a tough one because I would say probably the handwritten
Yeah.
witnesses, the depositions that they filled out for the police department and stuff. That's pretty rare. Yeah, I have been to the Flatwoods Museum in Sutton. I've been to the Bigfoot Research Museum in Georgia. I can't remember the name of the town, but it's a really nice one. So yeah, I've just as a guest, not really as an investigator or
Yeah.
anything. Blue Ridge, I think it's Blue Ridge, Georgia. Yes, the Fallout 76 release has brought a whole new demographic to the picture. I have not. The way I found out about that was one of my students in my graphic design class came up to me one day after class and told me that the museum was going to be in that game. And I said, what game? And he said, Fallout 76. And I said, what's that? So that shows you how much I know about the video
Yeah.
games. There really wasn't a whole lot of planning going into it. We just set up a lot of displays, and it's grown over the years. You know, we have interactive kiosks now, and media room, all kinds of special props and things like that. I'm sure there were. It'd be hard to remember. If we scrapped them, then I probably don't remember them.
Yeah.
Well, the Mothman Blacklight Mini Golf came about after we purchased the building, and we had about 5,000 square feet of storage that we were just using as a catch-all. And I thought, you know, this would really be cool to design a blacklight mini golf with a Mothman theme, and that's what happened.
Yeah.
Did you play it?
Yeah, I got to
Okay.
play yesterday. It was
Okay.
pretty good.
Well, most everything has either been donated or brought to us. I've really not had to, you know, beg for anything. So most of that stuff came pretty easy. Yeah, we do. We have, of course, now we brew the Mothman root beer here
It's really
upstairs, and you know, of course, the mini golf in the escape room. We have a 35-foot blow up Mothman that's being made overseas. It's going to be shipped to us here in the next month.
Oh, that's cool.
So he's pretty good size. Well, with the museum, what we would like to do is expand the museum and make it bigger.
Yeah.
In order to do that, we are working on purchasing the building we're in now, and we'll probably double the size of the museum. Bobcat Goldthwait was in. He's a comedian back in the 80s. American Pickers came in.
Yeah.
Um, and there's probably been a few celebrities come in we didn't even know they were in there.
Yeah.
You know. Well, today we actually hung a brand new full-size Mothman from the ceiling
Oh, nice.
in the diner area. He's flying over top of the car.
Hmm.
That was just this morning.
I might actually have to go in there and
Yeah.
see it.
The first items was probably those handwritten police reports and some of the movie props. It's been actually fairly easy. We've had people donate those, bring stuff into us and everything. I kind of favor the Mothman facts behind, or not facts behind the legend, but behind the red eyes.
Okay.
Facts behind the legend was the first book, and I learned a lot from the first book and improved a little bit on the second book. It's come into play, but it's just I'm so busy with what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
But I never say never.
Yeah.
Nothing really weird. I mean, you know, just I've met a few weird people, but that's about it. Nothing's right. I've really not. I've led kind of a boring existence when it comes to Men in Black or UFOs or anything like that. Well, when you come to Point Pleasant to investigate Mothman, you want to go up to the TNT area. Naturally, the Mothman Museum.
Yeah.
Those are the two big places. Yeah. I would say probably the shirts because we get to design those and we print those here. Yeah. That was probably 3 or 4 years ago. Somebody had went to the news station and showed them some footage and stuff. You know, most of the stuff that I've always looked into were in the 60s and the 70s, things like that. Well, the museum we opened in 2006, and that was at a first location. Then we ended up moving the museum into a bigger building, and we're like I said, if we can get the building purchased, then we're going to double the size of the museum, and I think that would be good for everybody.
Is there anything else you'd like to say? Anything at all?
You can find all this stuff online. www.mothmanmuseum.com. We're getting ready to create a Mothman online, which has all the websites on it. So Mothman.online, I think is what that is.